Well, welcome to podcast number, gosh, what are we on? Number 14. We started this 14 weeks ago, and we are very fortunate that the podcasts, for some of you, were replacing the Mike Ferry TV. We did 7,000 or 8,000 Mike Ferry TV episodes. I was young with dark hair and thin when I started doing them. And you can see what happens to people that are on TV all the time. Wrinkled white hair and heavy. What the heck? But we are lucky today to have a long time, wonderful person on this podcast. Miss Monique Walker is from the Arizona market. She is a superstar without question. She would never admit that. She would never say I'm a superstar, but we know she is. And when she's not being a superstar realtor, she is a wonderful tennis player. But we were just kidding before we started that she said to me the same thing that I have said to myself, that when her tennis game is really elevating, her real estate business suffers. And for me,
unfortunately,
yes, for me is when my golf game is accelerating and doing well, my business suffers. So Sabrina locks my golf clubs in a secret hiding place. What the heck? So good morning to Miss Monique Walker from Arizona. Remax 20 years? How long?
17 years.
17 years. That is great. That is a real tribute to you and to the company to have a top producer stay that long, because as you know so well, people keep jumping around all the time, and I've always said every time you make a jump you lose a little bit more business. So congratulations.
Well, that's why you've always been in my ear regarding that, because of course there's a lot of shiny objects and a lot of shiny companies.
That's
And
right.
I've always thought about what you said. Yeah, do I want the disruption? Is it going to be, is it going to enhance the business? Typically it's not. So
Yeah. So you have two daughters, and there's a possibility that they may join you in a couple of years.
my daughter, my 15-year-old said, "Mom, I'm coming. I like to make money." I said,
Oh,
"Good. Do you like to work hard?" We'll
what?
see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what about the 17-year-old?
And then the 17-year-old has lofty dreams of singing because she's a beautiful singer. And so
Good.
that's a little question mark, but I think that they'll both be joining me,
Good.
after they go to college and have
Yeah.
a fun experience there. Not to say they really need to. They could be a Brianne Llewellyn and start right away. But work's always going to be there. So I say, go enjoy your university experience, and then come join me afterwards.
Have they chosen universities to attend yet?
Not yet, but ask me in another year and I'll probably say yes.
Yeah, that is great. So with your business, you have a somewhat unique model. If your model is the same as it was a year or so ago when we spent some time together, and
It
that
is
is you have your staff working out of their homes
correct.
and you work out of your home. Whereas most agents that have a small team, they have them all meeting in one place on a regular basis. You've taken the opposite approach, and I'm just curious as to why.
So when I decided to have children, I thought, well, if I'm not home, I'm never going to see them.
Of
So
the
in
adults.
exactly. So in 2009, when I had my first daughter, it was I took off 60, 90 days max because I was
Okay.
just itching to get back to work. Not to say you should do that, but that was just me. And
Yeah.
then that month was a month that I started to work from home.
Good
That,
for you.
yeah, that third month of having a baby, I hired a full-time nanny. I
Good.
was stressed, Mike.
Yes.
Life is so much easier now. That was very stressful. But I had you, I had Kathy Anderson. So I had
Yeah.
just this, my husband, I had a wonderful support, team behind me. But that was a leap of faith, that's for sure.
So how many staff do you have now?
So two full-time, two part-time,
Okay.
and yeah, and then four agents.
And how active are the four agents? Are they a buyer's agent or are they just an agent that has their license underneath yours?
Good question. One acts more of a showing agent and a prospector.
Yes.
One's more of a buyer's agent, one's more of a listing agent, and the fourth one I just hired, I'll let you know.
Okay. So personal production, have you maintained the levels that you've been at the past now that you've added staff? Or has your personal production gone down to support the staff?
Good question. So my personal production is not supposed to go down. My personal production is supposed to stay up. So last year was a lower transaction count, but higher income. So last year
Good.
was 85. And this year, my goal is to do 90. So can't wait to tell you that I made that happen. So
What,
it's a little bit less than, for example, those years, those COVID wonderful years that we had where,
yeah,
where I was doing 120. And it would be great to get to those numbers, but not really. I'm really looking forward to doing 90, and my goal is to make 1.6. It's a lofty goal. I'm
yes.
not on track to do that. I've seemed to hit a little bit of a ceiling, Mike, with the income goal.
That-
So
that's very common. I'm lucky I talk to all of our friends that we have through the business, and it's very common that they can set a goal for transaction count, but they can't buy into the income side of that same transaction. And what's interesting to me is I always say, and you've heard me say this in the past, why don't you just forget about the money? You're going to get the money when the transactions close and spend 100% of your time improving the quality of the service you give the buyers and sellers. So your focus is always on the transaction.
gosh, isn't
What,
that the
what do you,
truth? That absolutely. And I've adopted that model for 20 years, right?
yes,
So, this year it's, finding higher price points to focus on. So my prospecting is a little different, not too different. It's just a different price point focus.
yes. Well,
Mhm.
the Scottsdale Phoenix market has two extremes.
Yes,
Some very, very expensive homes and trailers.
we
And
do. Sometimes really close to each other, which is very
yes,
odd.
well,
So,
my parents lived in a high-end trailer park for the last few years of their life before they passed. And I used to say to them all the time, I bought you that great home in Orange County and you decided to sell it. And I paid for it for them so they could have the money. And then I said, where are you going to go? They said, Phoenix. No, they said Mesa. I said, okay, where's Mesa? They said, it's attached to Phoenix. I said, okay, great. I said, let's go look for a home. Nope, we found a double wide trailer that we're going to live in. I'm going,
oh no. Oh no.
what does my life come to?
Well, and I
But
would
they
like to
loved it.
say though, because of you, my lifestyle is what it is today. Without you, I would not be living this amazing lifestyle that I'm still continuing to improve. I have not arrived, Mike.
Well, I don't think we ever do. Earl Nightingale used to say it's a journey, and it's a
Absolutely.
journey that you live from beginning to end.
Yes.
And do you remember Rosita Perez, that
Yeah.
wonderful Cuban gal that I had speak a couple of times? She
I'm
used
a
to,
Latin woman, so I do remember your Latin people.
that's right. And she was so unique because we had lunch several times before and after. And Rosita always said, the game is what you play between birth and death. That's the game. So how well do you want to play the game? And boy,
Hmm.
that was very impactful to me because I was going 127 miles an hour in a 55-mile zone called life building and business building. But it was like a slap in the head. So that changed my approach so I could help some of you change yours. And it worked for you 100%. which is
Yeah,
great.
and I'm continuing to work it because people around me, I mean, in my mastermind, like Jeff Highland, buys a
Hmm.
plane 1 month, buys a boat the next,
Yes, that's
is
right.
gonna, buy a third house. So it's amazing the people around me, what they're doing, and it obviously rubs up on off on me and ideas, and it's just
Sure,
invaluable.
that's right.
The community that you've created of these like big thinkers.
So how big is your database now?
My database,
Approx-
I focus on 1,000 past clients, and I've
Okay,
got about 300 sphere.
okay. And what percentage of your 90 transactions would probably come from your database?
Mike Ferry Events, where top producing agents get sharper. The original real estate coaching. Get registered today and invest in yourself.
Interesting, last year was 35%, but that's not including referrals, which referrals are coming from agents, people that know me. So with that said, that would be 49, call it 50. So 50%.
And how much is coming from your buyer slash listing agents that work underneath your domain? How many transactions are they doing? Or do you count those as part of yours?
No, I just keep my numbers totally separate because you
Yeah.
taught me that a long time ago. That's going to create complacency for me. So I
Yes.
just keep them as a totally separate, kind of like their separate business entity. So I'm
Yeah.
just sharing my numbers today.
What percentage of your total is listing sold versus buyer sales?
Listings, yeah, 90%.
Again,
90%.
90%. Wow, that
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
So you're like myself and a lot of other great agents. Buyers are fine to work with, just not for us.
Hey, I like to work with buyers if they're high end. So,
Yes, yeah,
or if
that's
they
right.
want to come and see my higher end listing, I'm there. So I've actually double-ended more deals the last 6 months for my own
Good.
listings, which is really fun. And I find that on the higher end, they do like to work with that listing agent.
Yep.
So that's exciting.
What would be a good example of a high-end listing in, say, Scottsdale in terms of price and size of home?
Well, I would say for me, right? Because there are some like very luxury agents that probably would say 3 million is their low end.
Yeah,
So
that's
for
their V,
me,
that's their
I
VA buyers.
I'd like to be there one day, but where I am today, 1.5,
Good,
1.5 or more would be a high-end buyer or a seller for me.
good for you.
Yeah,
And is that market still pretty strong
it
because the
is.
market's been going up and down?
I find that, people that have money transact when they want to. So a lot of them are cash buyers as well. And a lot of my clients are baby boomers too. So they're downsizing from their, larger home and still buying a luxury property
Yeah.
on the downside. Yeah.
Did you get part of the wave out of Southern California that Nevada got, and we would assume Arizona got 6, 8, 12 months ago, population declining in California and growing for your state and mine? Did that take place? Did you feel the effects of that?
So you're saying I did. It's hard to see if that was like an increase because there's just that's our biggest migrating state, right? California.
Yes.
So it's
Yep.
always a large population coming in. We also see a lot of people from Washington that
Yeah.
like the sunshine.
Yes. Well, and I think not to be political, they are moving away from some of those contested political spots, California,
That is
Washington,
what they say.
Oregon.
Yes.
Yeah, no question about it. And are you taking those out yourself, or do you refer those to one of your agents?
Mostly those are referring to my agents. Yes,
Yeah.
because a lot of those are obviously buyers.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I try to ask on these podcasts, Monique, what is it that you do best as a professional realtor?
Well, prospecting is what comes to mind. Isn't that boring, Mike?
We prospect every day.
My Tony just told me the other day, Monique, you need to be a little more focused during your prospecting. And I said, you're absolutely right. That's why I pay you $1,000 a month. So other
Yay.
which is such a good value. So thank you, Mike, for not increasing that. So other than prospecting, which is really the foundation of my business, I think I genuinely like people and I'm versatile. So I tend to connect well with different types of people, ages, nationalities,
Yes.
etc. And I enjoy it so much that I am always constantly learning and then critiquing myself and always trying to perfect the conversation, which then goes to, our script practice and
Yep.
mhm. Uh,
So with that being said, do you and the team practice together?
we do Monday through Thursday. We have a 30-minute coaching call. And we've actually been going through Ann Baker's advanced scripts and
Oh,
skills from
that's
last
it.
year. And I
That's
just
a,
go over the notes and we role play exactly what she said because it's phenomenal
yeah,
and
it's great.
so good. And then I have two other role play partners, throughout the week as well. I still role play. I still need a role play, Mike. Is that normal? Am I like a slow learner?
So there's a very successful broker who was pretty much the dominant broker for the Hawaiian Islands. Name was Mike McCormick. And Mike is probably long retired by now. He I met him probably 30 years ago. I got hired to speak for the Hawaii Association of Realtors. I had spare time on the day I was speaking. So I looked and I said, "Oh, Mike McCormick, he's a big broker. I'll go watch him speak." So I sat in the front row and he spoke for an hour and it was compelling. I couldn't write fast enough. And he kept looking at me because he knew that I was a speaker. And of course, I think he thought I was taking notes on his talk that I could use, but I was taking notes on his talk that I could use to help me build my business. So that was at like 9:30 to 10:30. I spoke from 11 to 12 that day, and then he spoke again from 1 to 2. So I decided to go back and do it again. So I sat in the same seat. He comes in and he looks down at me and he nods his head and he does his talk. I'm taking notes. Then he spoke again from 4 to 5, and I was speaking from 6:30 to 7:30. So from 4 to 5, I'm sitting in the front row of his talk for the third time. And he gave the same talk verbatim. I mean, right down to the pause and the comma. And finally, he looks at me about halfway through his talk and he said, "Are you not getting my message yet?" Did this in front of the audience. I said, "Yes." He said, "You've seen me speak 3 times today. How come?" I said, "I'm a slow learner." Because smart people are slow learners. So I would categorize you as a very smart person because when it takes, well, think about this. Does your tennis game get better with coaching and practice?
Like I said, Mike, I'm a very good tennis player right now for the month of
Yeah,
March 2026, but my
yeah.
listings taken is not. But I can compete with my daughters right now. So that's exciting.
Well, I think the wonderful audience that we have that watches our podcast will appreciate your honesty. So, you're experienced, you do things remotely, you do things really somewhat almost rotely. Your body, your mind works together every day to do certain activities. You know when you're off track, you know when you're on track. Um, what takes you off track besides tennis in terms of your day-to-day activities?
Sure. I just think I'm just like anybody else. I can be squirrely, and for some reason this month I've allowed, whether it's negotiating a deal or just spending too much time in between contacts. I just haven't been like laser focused, like during
Okay.
that 3 to 4 hour period. that I typically am. So, now my mindset is, and it's been a thing for like 15 years, like 30 contacts, Mike, makes my business great.
Yes.
So I'm really just laser focused today to just, make those 30, be intentional, be focused, add value, and I will do my 90 transactions and then hopefully I'll make, the income that I'd like to. And then it also affords my team the ability to accomplish a lot of their goals, maybe not all. So that still is the magic number for me. What do you think about that?
I think it's automatic that you will hit your goal and not to worry about the financial side because the 30 contacts bring you the 90 transactions.
Yeah.
And my goal when I was an agent, when I first started, was 75 contacts a day, but I prospected all day. And we had to go door to door because we had rotary phones. And that would take 2 months to call 30 people with a rotary phone. So I'm with you. I knew that as long as I made the contacts, I would get the leads and get the appointments and get the listings.
Occasionally, I'm finding that because I'm a little more target area and price point focus, sometimes it takes me a little bit longer. And I think that's where I tend to get maybe a little bit bored or, my mind travels. So it's just being conscientious of that and then maybe going to another list if I'm
Yeah.
not getting the pickups. But I'm definitely more intentional about who I'm calling versus before it was just volume
Yeah.
based. Mhm.
And that's very common when people start, is just do as many numbers as you can do. And
Right.
for some of the new people watching, by the way,
There's
it doesn't,
value.
there's value in just doing the numbers game. And then you can perfect it so you can be on a podcast with me sometime soon, like Monique has done. So go ahead, you were going to say?
Well, I was going to tell you, one of my agents asked me, like, Monique, you similar question that you asked me, like, what is your superpower? What have you done so well in the last 20 years? And for me, I was able to like shut my brain in terms of being analytical and just grind and do the work. I equate that to many times being on the tennis court and you're grinding 50
Yeah,
forehands cross court with
yeah,
shape in a target area. So my mind has that ability and that training just to do, because a lot of us humans were analytical, right? Or
yes.
expressive, and we get into our heads too much and we're thinking. We're just do. Just have your script, have your list, just do it.
Just pick up the phone.
Yes.
Um, do you prefer the phone or door to door when you're prospecting?
Well, great question. I door knocked on Thursday and I always very much enjoy it. I confess that I don't do it enough, but I always have very good results.
Well, I've got this little flyer here that just
Oh,
came out.
that's me.
Yes, it's the Scottsdale Real Producers Magazine, and you're on the cover. Um, why did they choose you? Productions, income, contribution? What? How were you chosen for that great award?
Production, most likely.
Production, most likely.
Mhm.
And I would have to assume that you're one of the top producers in the greater Scottsdale area.
Yes, yes, in
And
Maricopa County, yeah, our
yeah,
county. Mhm.
are you planning to build your team and expand that part of your business?
Well, Mike, that's a conversation I'd love to have with you because I don't think so. I think I'm much
Good.
more. Okay, good. We don't have to have the conversation.
I agree with you that 100%.
No,
Who,
yeah.
who was I with yesterday? I'm trying to remember, but I was on the phone with one of probably somebody from your mastermind group. And we were talking about the fact that, oh, it was Lee Marcus. And Lee has made the decision not to build a team and to just focus on his personal production. And I said to Lee, you know, I keep individually telling top producers, building a team is one skill set. Being a top producer is a totally different skill set. Which one pays the most? Because let's face it, as much as it sounds terrible, we're doing this for the money. Because the money brings
Absolutely.
us the lifestyle and brings us the opportunity to secure our family and secure our future. But
And you're
I'm
absolutely right. Mhm.
I'm 100% behind individuals. Think about this, Monique. You get 3 or 4 buyer's agents, you have to furnish leads because they're working for you as a buyer's agent because they don't want to prospect. So then you're fighting the battle of prospecting. But if you're furnishing leads, you're buying leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, et cetera, which is very expensive because the conversion rate is so low. So you choose not to buy the leads and you try to teach them how to prospect, and your beautiful dark hair goes white like mine almost instantly
Yes,
because
all of those
because
things are right. Mhm.
because your personal production decreases as you're trying to help your people. So I said on one of the podcasts, probably in the first few that I did, I said to the audience, and I said, I'm glad the audience is small and that this is just beginning, because I'm going to say something that a lot of you are not going to like. Team building is another fad, and it's
Right.
going to go away.
Mhm.
And I think people that are smart are recognizing that now.
Mhm.
Most agents scroll. Top agents study. Follow Mike Ferry on all platforms and think like top real estate agents do.
I believe, Mike, that my sweet spot, in order to have good customer service, so in order for like my sellers that want to purchase to have a really good service, and
Yes,
maintain it with the team, and then us being able to show our listings quickly. So it's very much a customer service tool to have the agents.
yes,
So I believe that would be like 3 really quality agents, or quality people, I should say.
yes.
So that's the number that I'm probably going to move forward with in the next few years.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you start getting 10, 12, 15, now, I coach Josh Barker and I coach Bernie Gallerini, and they both are going to this year do 750 to 900 transactions. And that is done primarily through their team, but they're averaging 30, 35 deals per person because they've perfected it so well. But you and I both know that is very unusual for an individual to produce at that level with the team.
Do you
Now,
remember what you said to me in 2000 or 2021 about having a team?
no.
You said, Monique, you are not a good leader. And I got mad at you. But you know what? You were right. I do
Well,
think I'm a good leader. However, I am not Bernie, right?
yeah,
And to be a very, very high level leader to 30 other agents, you've got to be exceptional. Would you
yes,
agree?
yeah, yes.
Eh,
And I've coached them on how to become better leaders because they're already great salespeople.
Maybe
So
you can coach me to be a better leader in a
I
few
would
years.
I
But
would
so
love
far,
to
I love production.
keep that attitude, that's for sure. Well, I'm looking at the clock. We're at almost 29 minutes. This has been a lot of fun. We have young Dakota runs our video side of our business. This has been one of the best, hasn't it? And he's shaking his head yes.
Mike, I'm
So
glad I made your top 14 agents. Yes.
you're in the top of the top of the top, no
It's
question
because
about
of
it.
you, Mike. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, say hi to your husband, say hi to your daughters,
Sure
tell them
will.
tell them we're behind you 100%, and we're not going anywhere except to do better jobs for each other. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for today.
Thank you, Mike.